What is up, guys? It's Riley here, and today we're going to do my New Year special. So it's going to be what if Deku was the Avatar, and this is going to be Avatar: The Last Bender. So this is going to be I will tell you his life about he was still was he, when he was younger. So yeah, he's going to be the Earthbending Avatar before Korra. After Korra, and this is what he's going to look like when he's at least 16. So let's go, okay? Rin loves to read books when he was a kid. He goes to the library every day. He loves to read and learn about the past avatars. He looks up to Avatar Kyoshi and Avatar Aang the most. He likes to read about their journeys and fights. Since he was an earthbender, he tries to learn earthbending. This attempt was successful. He adapted to it. He made it a passion. He loves to read books. He learned about Toph and Melbending. He was amazed. He wanted to learn seismic sense too. He learned in a few days. He also learned Melbending too. He became an earthbending master at the age of 6. He was a prodigy and a genius at the same time. One day, he was walking around the city until he saw a kid his age getting bullied. The kid was getting bullied by 3 kids that looked like they're a year or 2 older than her. First, he decided to confront them. He came up to them and asked, "Why are you bullying her?" A boy with black hair would say, "She's mute and pathetic," as he was about to punch a girl with brown hair and hazel eyes. As he was about to punch the girl, all of a sudden, an earth wall would come up and block the punch. The boy's eyes would widen, and he would say, "Get this wall out of the way!" As he would tell his lackeys to go fight Rin. His lackeys would charge at him. Rin would fight them, and since earthbending is based on martial arts, or at least bending is based on martial arts, he would defeat them quite easily. The boy's lackeys would run off. The boy would say, "You win this time," as he would run off too. Rin walked towards the girl and asked, "Are you alright?" As the girl would nod, and Rin would help her up. He would say, "My name is Rin, and as you can tell, I'm an earthbender." The girl would write in a notebook she carried. It said, "Thank you for saving me. My name is Mika. I'm a non-bender." Rin would say, "Cool. Wanna be friends?" Mika would nod, and they started hanging out. A month later, Mika would learn sign language with Rin. Mika would ask Rin if he can train her. Rin would agree, and Mika was happy. A few months later, Mika learned chi blocking and has a great fighting style. Yes, I know this is too OP for a kid, but imagine I've been watching some Naruto lately, and imagine if you were if you were a genius, wouldn't you learn things quite easy and fast? So yeah. A year later, they're both 7. Mika's gotten stronger, and so has Rin. One day, when Rin and Mika were sparring, Rin accidentally firebent. Both Mika and Rin were shocked. Rin would say, "I'm the Avatar? I'm the Avatar!" Mika was happy for him. Rin decides to go to Mako and ask him if he could teach him firebending. Mako agreed, and since he's the Avatar, and he reminded him of Korra, Rin picked up firebending very easily. He mastered firebending and lightning bending in a year. Mako expected this since he was an earthbender. Mako challenged Rin to a fight. Rin would accept, and Mako wanted to test Rin's skills and see if his growth isn't just for show. Rin would attack first. With a punch, fire would come out of it, and Mako would dodge the attack. Then, an earth pillar would hit Mako. This took Mako by surprise, and Mako would get more serious. They would fight. Rin would use his earthbending and firebending. He was keeping up with Mako, which Mako was impressed. Overall, Mako won because of his knowledge, experience, and techniques. And you may guys, please don't leave in the comments that he's a genius, he should win, but He needs the experience, to be honest. Even though he's sparring with Mika, she's a non-bender. He hasn't really fought against real benders before. So yeah. Okay? Rin actually gave a good fight to Mako. Mako's proud of Rin. He congratulates him. And Rin would thank Mako and say his goodbyes. He went to Mika's house and he knocked on the door. Mika's mom would open the door and welcome him. There's only a few people so far that he knew. He was the Avatar. He didn't want many people to know because that'll be a big target on his back. He didn't want to be targeted at a young age. He wanted to wait until he's at least 13 years old. Or 12. Now back to the story. Mika's mom would tell Rin that Mika's doing her training in the forest. Rin would thank Mika's mom. They would go to the forest where he would run there and he would arrive in a few minutes. He has been training his physical capabilities and he had calculated how to run in its fullest capabilities or potential. So he won't waste any energy and couldn't get sprains. When he got there, he greeted her. He greeted her and Mika waved. They hang out and they had a great time. In Mako's perspective, he called Jinora on the phone and told Jinora about Rin and Rin was the Avatar. He mastered earthbending and firebending. Mako asked Jinora if she could teach him airbending. Jinora would agree to teach Rin and she would say that the preparations would be in a month. Mako would thank Jinora and they would hang out. Flashback. Mako would ask Rin if he wanted to learn airbending. Rin would say yes, but he wanted to spend time with Mika too. We're back, guys. Okay, guys, sorry for the cut and let's go. Mako would say that there's time for everything, and that it's time for him and Mika to reunite and spend time together. He is still a kid, and he wants him to at least live a decently normal life. Not just always learning and training, he wanted to have friends too and socialize. Now back to the story. Rin would get informed that he has to go to the air temple to learn airbending in a month. He would tell this to Mika. Mika understands and asks if he can promise her something. Rin would say sure. Mika would tell him to never forget her, and they would spend time together every time he comes back. He promised her that. After he promised that, Mika would blush. Rin would notice this, and now knows that Mika has a crush on him. But Mika doesn't know if he likes. But Rin doesn't know if he likes her or not. He didn't want to hurt her feelings, but he just told himself to just wait till he's older and see if he'll like her, or like her or not, and just brushed it off. A month later, Rin woke up early. He looked up to the calendar. He sighed and thought to himself, today's the day. I hope I can say goodbye to Mako and Mika. As he packed his stuff, and when he was about to leave his house, the doorbell rang. He opened the door and saw Mako and Mika. Mako said that he wanted to say their goodbyes. Mika nodded, confirming it was true. They said their goodbyes and Rin left. He was picked up by an airbender. They traveled to the air temple. Jinora greeted him and introduced herself and told Rin that his training will start tomorrow. Jinora showed Rin to his room. Rin thanked her and slept. The next day it was time for his training. At first, he had a hard time. After a few months, he adapted to it. He mastered airbending. He even made 2 new bending techniques for air, which was sound bending and compression bending, in 2 years. And if you don't know how he got compression and sound bending, I was reading a book and we were having a lesson in online class and it was about some sounds and yeah. And I was also reading a book about sounds and compression bending. I just thought to myself, what if airbenders were more... I watched a video about how airbend in CBR, if it's always about air, that airbending is the most dangerous bending style. And turns and if you have seen my comment, it is actually true. So yeah, I kind of have a good point there because if you don't know what's compression bending, he just compresses the air around him and to make it solid. Because I thought it was pretty cool. And I mean, that's pretty cool to be honest. Imagine if you can harden air around you. So yeah. And he learned it in 2 years also. He's now 10 years old, so is Mika. In the air temple, he made a friend that is 2 years older than him. His name is Kito, and Kaijinora's grandson. Oh yeah, I forgot. So this was YouTuber Dino Ninja had also did this sound bending and compression bending, which I thought was really interesting too. So I did, and I wanted to put in my what if. So yeah, I'm sorry guys for the interruption. So let's continue. His name is Kito, Kai and Jinora's grandson. They're great friends. They both have an interest in reading, so they have a lot of things. They also have a lot of things in common. Rin also learned how to communicate to the past avatars. He communicates to them. He treats them like family. The avatars enjoy his company. They also treat him like family. One time, they're arguing and that who was his favorite. When Rin arrived at the spirit realm, he sees the avatars fighting about who was his favorite. Rin thought this was satisfying, so he used Sanbei to be silent. Then Kiyoshi said, "Remember, he looks up to me the most. And plus, he's an earthbender just like me." Aang interrupted. "Hold on, Kiyoshi. He looks up to me too, so therefore I'm his favorite. And plus, he made 2 new bending styles in airbending, so he might have did it in my honor." They would continue on and on until Rin would accidentally let out a small giggle, then a loud laugh. Loud enough so they could notice. The avatars would see Rin with a bucket of popcorn and a face that says, "Oh wow, they found me. Great." Kuro would laugh, then Aang would ask how long has he been there. Rin would reply, 6 minutes and 23 seconds before Kiyoshi said, "Remember, he looks up to me the most," and continuing that sentence. Kiyoshi and Aang would be embarrassed, so would the other avatars, because they know that Rin is a genius, and by simple clues, he would know what's going on. Rin would brush it off, and they would have a chat. A month later, that incident, Rin got his own sky bison named Aries. Juno would tell him that it's now time for him to go back to the Republic City. Rin would say his goodbyes, then Kito would run up to Rin and he was about to leave. Kito would came up to Rin with a suitcase and he would say, "Rin, I want to come with you." So I asked Grandma and she said yes. Rin would be happy and Kito would get on his bison named Nara. They would say their goodbyes and left to the Republic City. On their way, they would see bandits. Rin would nod at Kito and Kito would nod back. They would ambush the bandits. Both Rin and Kito would do a punch with a little bit of compression bending and mostly air bending. This would injure the bandits and send them back. Rin would samba and capture them. Rin and Kito would knock him out and they would tie them up and put on their bisons and go to the Republic City and go to the prison to drop them off. After they drop him off, Rin told Kito he wanted him to meet a friend. Keith would ask, "Who?" Rin would say, "A girl my age, named Mika. She's a mute non-bender. Don't underestimate her. She's quite strong. We haven't seen each other for 2 years. I bet her strength has improved a lot." Keith would say, "Well, I'm excited to meet her." They would go to Mika's house. Rin would knock on the door. He could hear footsteps coming. The door would open and Mika had tears in her eyes. And she'd hug Rin. Rin would hug her back. After a couple of seconds, Rin broke the hug and told her there's someone he wanted her to meet. Mika would be excited and Rin would introduce Mika to Kito. Mika would communicate with Kito with sign language, and surprisingly, Kito knows sign language too. Rin was happy that they were getting along. A week later, they were strolling down in the park, looking for a place to set up a picnic. They found a good spot under a big oak tree. They set up their picnic. Rin brought a cooler with some drinks and cold treats. Kito brought a salad with strawberry pie, and Mika brought a big picnic blanket with sandwiches and some cookies. After a few minutes, they saw a boy walking towards them. He had brown hair and yellowish eyes. He said, "My grandpa wanted me to give this to you." As he would give it to Rin, Kito said, "Hey, do you want to join us on our picnic?" As he would say this with a welcoming smile. The boy would say, I don't want to bother." Rin would say, "It's fine. There's plenty of food and space to share." Rin finished reading the letter after he said that. The boy would introduce himself as Sian. The three would also introduce themselves. Sian would get informed that Mika was mute. Sian would tell them that he was a firebender. They would eat and chat. They would have a great time. They would go to their separate ways and go home. The next day, the gang decided to train. They trained and they did some spars, spent time together. Overall, they get to know each other more. 3 months later, they ran into a girl. The girl had black hair and hazel eyes. She looks like she's a year older than Rin and Mika. The girl said, "I'm sorry, I'm a bit lost. Can you show me around?" As Mika would nod her head and Rin said, "She's Mika. She's a mute non-bender. I'm Rin, and I'm an earthbender. And these are my friends." Kito and Sian would wave. The girl would say, "My name is Yuki. I'm also an earthbender." They would show Yuki around and they would get to know each other. A year later, Rin had to go to the Northern Water Tribe. He packed his things and said his goodbyes and left on his sky bison Aries. He would travel there and it took 2 days before he arrived. The guards asked him, "What is his name?" Rin would say, "I'm Rin," as the guards remembered his name and let him in. He got assigned to his room, and when he finished packing, he met a girl named Amara. Amara had brown hair and blue eyes, and she does not look like Katara, but she moreover looks like Yui, with her hair down, not in a ponytail, and yeah. She was the same age as Rin, a few months younger. Amara was also trained to be a great waterbender. They began to train together with their teacher. Rin and Amara became closer and closer every day. They became good friends. After a year, Amara and Rin mastered waterbending. Rin actually rediscovered bloodbending. Bloodbending has been a lost bending element for years now. All the information about bloodbending has been burned. And if you guys don't know how Rin can communicate to the past avatars, waterbending had a new technique which is called spirit mending or spirit reviving. So I don't really know if that's in the Legend of Korra, so let's say it is. There's no spirit reviving. So they revived Rava and yeah. Healed Rava, so yeah. So let's continue. Rin didn't want people to know, as he decided to only use it for big threats or emergencies. A month passed. It was time for Rin to go. Amara wanted to come with Rin. Rin allowed this and let her come with him. Amara got on Aries and said their goodbyes and left. 2 days later, they arrived in the Republic City. Rin told Amara he wanted her to meet his friends. Amara was excited and Rin and Amara were welcomed by Team Avatar. Mika would ask, who was the girl? And by the way, every time Mika asks something or says something, she's doing it in sign language, so you guys won't come at me in the comments, please don't. Ren would say, oh, this is Amara. We have the same teacher, and we're friends. I want you guys to meet her. They would introduce one another overall, just hang out. They become stronger and closer every day. A month later, Amara needed to come back, so she left. Amara still sends letters to Team Avatar, and Team Avatar sends theirs back. A year later, Rin is now 12. He told Team Avatar that he's going to visit Amara. Team Avatar agreed, and he packed some of his things, and he said his goodbyes and left. Along the way, he got caught in a storm. He and Aries got off balance. They were drowning. Then Rin unlocked the Avatar state for the first time, and he got trapped in an iceberg. A month passed. Team Avatar got worried. They decided to call Amara. They asked if Amara if Rin arrived. Amara would say no. She continued to say that Rin sent a letter a month ago saying that he was going to come. They sent teams to look for him, but it was no use. Years later, then decades, benders became extinct. Technology got more advanced. Now people just think benders were just myths. News of the Avatar hasn't come. One day, a pretty big iceberg was about to hit the island. If island moves, it'll hit Japan. The top heroes tried to stop it and never melted the iceberg. All my jet smashed the top part, and the top part of the iceberg shattered. Then the bottom part of the iceberg emerged. All Might was about to jet smash the iceberg, but he stopped. Endeavor asked, All Might, why did you stop? Is there a problem? All Might replied, There's a 12-year-old boy in there. We have to get him out. Suddenly, the ice began to crack. The iceberg broke and the kid's eyes glow. Don't know who was the game talking about, it was Rin. So, to think that in the first episode of Avatar The Last Airbender where Katara and Sokka met Aang and Aang's eyes began to glow and the eye beams came out. Yeah, that's the scene. Rin was unconscious. The heroes and Nezu looked at him. Rin would wake up and said, Oh, how long have I been inside the iceberg? He said in a tired voice. Nezu asked, Well, what do you recall before you were trapped in the iceberg? And what is that thing behind you? Or animal? Rin said, I recall saying goodbye to my friends because I had to visit my friend Amara. She lives in the south. She's a waterbender. But I got caught in a storm and this is Aries, a sky bison. Just so you know, other bisons and animals in Avatar hasn't been extinct, okay? Only benders, so yeah. And Nezu said, well, I guess benders were real after all. Rin said, I'm Rin. I'm the Avatar. Rin said this because Nezu looked trusting, and Endeavor said, Those are just myths. There's no way a child is the Avatar. Rin said, Well, I challenge you to an Agni Kai. Endeavor asked, What is that? Rin would say sarcastically, Wow, a 12-year-old knows more than an old man. Endeavor said, What do you say, Rin bloodbended Endeavor and made him bow. Rin said, Wow, I never knew adults became weaker. Rin released Endeavor and bended the ocean floor and made it to the battlefield. He hopped on it and said, Come on, sir, I want to see your skills in firebending. Would you want me to go all out? All Might said, Endeavor, don't do this. He's just a kid. Nezu interrupted and told All Might that he wanted to test Rin's skills. Endeavor got on the platform, and out of anger he extended his hand out and releases a ton of fire. Rin releases a ton of fire, but twice the size. It was purple. It overwhelmed Endeavor's flames, and it did a lot of damage, and made Endeavor pass out. Rin said, One attack and you're out? Never mind, I'll heal you just because I want them to know I'm on their side. Rin began to take the water from the ocean and heal Endeavor. The heroes and Nezu were surprised. The heroes would ask Rin, Nezu and the heroes would ask Rin about more and more questions, and Rin would answer them truthfully and wisely. The heroes were shocked by Rin's intelligence, and Nezu thought into adopting him to UA because people would be after him. So once they got back, the dorms were already made. Izuku helped with the dorm system because, earthbending and stuff. So Izuku would, create some stuff, and yeah. The dorms were there, and Izuku's dorm room was three dorm rooms smashed together two dorm rooms smashed together, so because why not? And he had three dorm rooms smashed together. He had his own bathroom, and the two other rooms were just his bedroom, and the other one combined was just a bathroom and a little closet. So, over the years, Izuku got trained by heroes, and Izuku improved a lot, dearly. I'm sorry guys for the background noise, let's just go. So, overall, Rin will be raised in UA. The teachers would grow fond of him, and Ren's personality changed a bit. Ren is still patient and joyful and kind, but he's more. So he has a little bit of mood swings. If it comes to battle, if he's really serious, he'll go to battle mode really good. And over those years, Rin also showed them a map of all the areas that he used to live in. So they'll explore. So Rin had the permission to explore all around the world, and he had a trusted bro hero to be with him. So they keep on rediscovering the old ruins, and when Rin went to Mika's house where he remembered, it changed a lot. Rin would sigh, and he would scavenge there, and he would see a picture of Team Avatar, and all of them in one picture. Rin decided to keep the picture, and he would go. After 2 months, he gathered a lot of information, and he passed it on to UA. Sorry for the cut, guys. Now let's continue. Rin was still pretty sad because of the storm. His attitude would change. His attitude would change. He would be more quiet and distant, to be honest. He wasn't really that joyful anymore. He rarely smiles. He's still patient though, but I'm sorry guys for the background noise. It was just someone is messing around. So yeah, Rin was a little bit more quiet and didn't seem the type to, to show that much information. He only trusted a few people, which were the UA teachers. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave off, guys. Well, Deku was the Avatar, which is going to be my own series, aka Avatar: The Last Bender. And yeah, that's where we're going to conclude it. This is going to be part 0, aka the backstory in Avatar: The Last Bender. And yeah, bye guys, and see you in the next video. This is Raleigh signing off. Make sure to like and subscribe, and bye. 3, 2, 1, let's go.